to We Never Met, the podcast where I have interesting strangers on every single week. And today we got
Allen Halas from Breaking and Entering.
How you doing, man?
Good. I am doing all right. I'm in the middle of a busy stretch of
yeah, we were just talking about how busy you are.
Yeah.
Because we're recording this in the midst of Summerfest. So who are you seeing tonight, or where are you going?
Tonight, definitely checking out some local music at 8. I'm gonna go see Direct Hit.
Okay.
I saw Gold last night, and then
how's that show?
It was a good show.
Yeah.
They always are fun, and they're buddies. So that's kind of nice too, to like kind of see people like up playing the biggest stage in the city, kind of thing.
Yeah, because they're from Milwaukee, right?
Yep, they're originally from Bayview, actually, right from this little neighborhood in Milwaukee. Though.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They got started, I want to say, like right over here at Tonic. It was kind of like one of the first. I know that they played like a Halloween show somewhere at like Boone and Crockett when it was down here.
Sure.
But yeah, they're right from this neighborhood even.
How long ago did they start like as a band? Do you know? Was it a while?
I want to say they've been around now as a band for probably 5 or 6 years, I would say.
Okay.
But like it was actually supposed to be a one-off thing, and turned out to be like they turned it into a touring act now.
It's like I was wondering because like they're really successful and well known now. So I was wondering if it was like a short turnaround, like, oh, it's been like 2 years and somehow they just like.
Well, they did have like they just kind of blew up, and got really successful. They sold out Turner Hall twice in a calendar year. Like they did like an early like spring show, and they did like New Year's Eve. So
Wow.
I mean, but they still, that's a 700 person room. That's a big,
that's a big deal.
Yeah. For a local band to fill that.
Yeah. So we should talk about your site, which is why you know so much about this stuff.
Yes. Definitely.
Breaking and Entering, which started in 2009, right?
Yes.
So 10 years. Right?
Yeah. Unofficially. So it's kind of a weird history. Breaking and Entering started, I was getting out of high school at Thomas More and going to Marquette with a friend, and we said we were going to do like college radio. Yeah. So we started though as a podcast in 2009 because we didn't know, we didn't think we were going to hack it. We didn't think we were going to be good enough. Which if we would have, stayed with that, and podcasting is where it is now, we would have been like, we would have been OGs for a while. Yeah. But yeah, no. So it was a podcast. Then it did become a student radio show for a little bit on Marquette Radio. Around 2012 ish, my buddy was a psych major. So that's really intensive. I was a communications major. Yeah, I was too. Completely different. So he was much more busy than I was going to be. So he split off, and then I took the website, and I was like, well, I still have it. I was going to try and sell shirts for a while. That didn't work out. But my way to get people to the shirt part of things was to have like a blog with like a Milwaukee artist of the week. Okay. And then people started hitting me up that they wanted to be artist of the week. This was like the really blog era, and especially in like hip hop too, where like everybody had one. You had to be at, so we started like 2014. I graduated in 2013. Around 2014 ish, I was like, well, if I'm going to make a go of this, because the goal has always been to like make this my full-time thing. I was like, I'm just gonna put out as much content as I can. Yeah. And that became, like a post a day to like 3 posts a day to like now we're up to like 4 or 5 posts a day, and then a Snapchat story and Instagram post. And like,
there's so much that goes into it.
It's grown into a full-fledged operation, and like we do shows, like all sorts of things that we just kind of keep the ball rolling.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you were because I did student radio too. I did radio after college for a little bit at like Kiss FM here and stuff. Did you enjoy student radio? Was that something that you liked?
Yeah, actually, I think that's where I developed a lot of like the ability to kind of adjust on the fly for things. Sure. Like I definitely learned to, being a communications major helps too, but like just being able to like fluently talk and be comfortable on a microphone, be comfortable, with whatever you're doing. Right. I learned that from like bouncing back and forth from like, oh, I have to do this, and then I have to edit, and then I have to do whatever to like put out content for the radio show. So it just kind of, I pick up something from every little iteration of what I'm doing.
Right. Yeah. And you talked about like the blog era, which like when did you graduate college?
2013.
Okay. So we graduated the same year. So we were in college when that was kind of like insane. There was like all these blogs,
and especially like in hip hop too. Like in Chicago, there's a blog. Go Where Hip Hop. Chicago, there's a blog called Fake Shore Drive that I still follow.
Oh, okay.
And that was kind of like really the inspiration for me to like bring that to Milwaukee.
Okay.
Because what they were doing was like, they were telling you about artists you probably had never heard of, but like they were a big deal in Chicago and nobody was covering it nationally.
Yeah.
But they became a big national site because they showed the world what Chicago music was.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to do that for Milwaukee, not just hip hop, but like everything.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what that evolved out of, is that kind of inspiration.
Are you more hip hop focused? Like, is that what you enjoy more?
So I have a weird musical history too.
Yeah.
Like I was a punk rock skater kid, and, the Tony Hawk games got you into, and I had a cousin that, you know, was making hip hop, and that led to me being into it. And then I made beats for a while, and like, it's a long history, but but hip hop is kind of a focus, especially for us. Just because that's a lot of the music that's getting made here. Like the majority of there's Milwaukee rappers. You could go down that SoundCloud funnel for days.
Yeah.
You know, and still find new people. Like we find new people all the time that we're like, I didn't know this guy was local.
Yeah.
Like, there's that. And then, you know, mainly like it's a focus for me too, because it's something that doesn't get as properly covered in the city as some of the other genres of music. You know, it doesn't get the radio play that, you know, like indie bands get and things like that. And I do love all of Milwaukee's music scene, but I've taken a liking to like being the guy to help get the hip hop scene to where it needs to be. Right.
And who are some of the artists that you have found, I guess, recently going down that hole that you're like, whoa, they're from Milwaukee? I didn't know that.
Out of nowhere. I mean, well, recently, there's an artist, there's a group on the South Side called Brown's Crew that I just saw at an event we did with DJ Loop from WMSE. She kind of brought that group to me, even though I kind of heard the name before.
Yeah.
I'm really, really into what Nile is doing right now. He's like completely on a different, he's in his own, you know, in his own element. And within the last year or two, like Shlee Berry has like come up out of nowhere.
Yeah, her episode comes out on Monday.
She's super rad. She's a friend. She doesn't say I'm a friend, but we have a love hate where we love to hate on each other. But we know her whole crew through like Big Beat MKE and stuff like that. Yogi B and Keys are like party rappers. I could go for days, man.
Just good. It's an hour-long podcast of just you naming people.
Definitely. Genesis Renji, Cam, who just moved down to Atlanta. Like, Von Alexander is one of my favorite rappers in the city. Like, and it's not, I didn't really necessarily know him from like the like discovered on SoundCloud thing. It's just, I've just watched him grow and evolve as an artist, and I'm like, he should be so much bigger than where he's at right now.
Yeah. So for me, like, how did this start? Because it's got to be a lot different when you first started. Like, how are you finding artists at the beginning compared to now? Because I'm sure it's like people are reaching out to you now. Like a lot of people.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Whereas at the beginning, it probably wasn't.
Oh, for sure.
Like that.
Initially, it came out of me making music, and I was producing for a group called The Cranberry Show, which aren't around anymore, but still friends with. And like, I saw all their artists that they were around, and I kind of, you know, just went down the wormhole of like at MySpace at the time. And so initially, like, local music, I should backtrack. Local music has always been part of what I've done, you know, whether it was the radio show, the podcast, whatever. We always tried to get local music played on, you know, and get it out there.
Yeah.
But like, that was the initial way of discovering artists. It was like, oh, you know this guy who knows this guy who knows
it was
this
like
guy.
networking kind of.
Yeah. And then part of it was like just the related wormhole of like MySpace and then Facebook of like finding different people.
Yeah.
And then eventually, like, now people hit us up all the time for submissions. Like there's so much in my inbox that I can't get to all of it all the time. But like, try it.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah,
though.
exactly. Like, I'll be at work, like, listening to as much Milwaukee music as I can.
It's like a 24-hour loop in your headphones of
basically, like, it is the majority of what I listen to now. Just because it's, you know, what I want to be covering, so I have to know it. But like, when new like national stuff comes out, I might get like one listen to it because I'm so focused on like what everybody else is doing and trying to get their music on my site and elsewhere and just out to the world.
Yeah, because Is it harder though now because you have developed relationships with people to be like, if someone like sends you something and you don't really like it, like, is it hard to be like, actually, we're not going to put this up anymore?
I mean, there is times like that. More often than not, I'm actually pretty impressed with what everybody's doing.
Yeah.
If somebody puts out something that's, bad, or not necessarily bad, but just not for me kind of thing, like I might get it out there, but like, I don't know. It's just, it might not get as much attention to me.
Right.
Or it might be lower of a priority to like get it out there kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah. Fortunately, I haven't had that problem too much to be like, hey, I can't really.
We can't do this.
Yeah.
So what do you think it was like? Because there was like a big bubble kind of in college, when we were in college, with like Good Music All Day and like College of Music and like a ton of different blog sites. And a lot of them don't exist anymore, or at least not to the point.
Right. They're not what they were.
Right.
Sure.
Like these artists were like getting put on there and they would get like 100,000 views off of like being on a blog.
Right.
So how has yours like stayed so popular and like, I don't know, been through that gauntlet? You know what I mean?
I think it's because it's just like a gradual discovery thing for me.
Yeah.
Like it's very organic how we build our following.
Sure.
It's not like I didn't spam out to 100,000 people like, yo, like this page.
Check out,
yeah, check out our site. I mean, I did a lot of that, but like we're still in that growth phase.
Yeah.
And I think because it hit everywhere else and it kind of already has passed its mark there.
Yeah.
That's why those blogs, and they also didn't adapt as well.
Right.
Like we have adapted to like, okay, everybody's making Spotify playlists. So now we have a weekly Spotify playlist that's sponsored by Bubbler Bikes.
Yeah.
And then we have like, everybody's doing events. So we are doing events now.
Yeah.
Or, even we have a mini version of our podcast that's just like, just interviews with bands that come to town and stuff like that, or people I can get on the phone kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because like we've kind of grown it. I've grown it from like just a site to like a full media, like, content everywhere.
Right. Yeah. It's not just a music site anymore. It's like so much more than that.
Yeah. And everything is like, there's something for everybody kind of thing.
Right.
Like we have a Milwaukee section. We have a national section. That's all like bands that come to town or PR companies that send me stuff to review.
Yeah.
Or we have like, we have contributors. I've got contributors that help, friends that go to like, we've got a good relationship with like Turner Hall Ballroom and Summerfest and things like that like they'll post reviews and then, so it draws people in that way too.
Yeah.
It's not just a look what I'm putting out to the world kind of
right.
thing.
Yeah. And do you think it has something to do with like, cause all the sites that seem to like fall off as far as like blogs, they didn't really have a thing. Like they were just posting music. Whereas it's a lot more like local centric. Do you think like that has something to do with it too?
Yeah. And I think like people are always eager to know like what is next in Milwaukee. Like I've been through this, I've been in and around the music scene for over a decade now.
Yeah.
And, I've seen the waves of artists kind of come through.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm on like my like second or third wave at this point of like artists coming through.
Yeah.
So like that part is like kind of the nice thing that I get to see like, okay. And I think we're the platform that's breaking that.
Yeah.
Because really like we're the ones that are going to give everybody a shot. Like that's kind of what sets Breaking and Entering apart is like, I want to be the guy that does like, we do big festivals, we do Summerfest and Lollapalooza, but we also do like the guy making something really amazing in his basement.
Right.
And we want to put that out to the world, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. So is that kind of like, we didn't even like talk about this, but like, where did Breaking and Entering, where did that come from? Like even the name for it?
So the name for it came from when we decided to be a podcast.
Okay.
We were at Marquette, but me and the guy that I was doing with both stayed at home. We lived off campus, but our friends had a dorm. And so the running joke was, we're just going to do the podcast out of your dorm room. And then my friend Katie was like, well, you're going to have to call it Breaking and Entering because that's the only way that we're going to let you in.
Yeah.
And then I said, fine, that's what we'll do. Yeah. And we never really did it out of their dorm room. We mostly did it out of my parents' basement for the first, couple months. But, like that's where the name came from and it stuck, and had a friend design a logo, and ran with it,
So what was the podcast about? was it about the same sort of stuff? Like,
it was very much two 18-year-olds with a microphone.
Yeah.
You know,
I've been
like,
there.
it was like, we probably would have hated ourselves if we went and ran it back. Like we were always trying to do like the weird, absurd news stories. And like, we were trying a little bit to kind of force some content out there. It didn't feel very natural. It felt like us trying to just kind of make jokes, but for what it was, like, it was kind of nice to like, you know, learn how to, you got to cut your teeth somewhere.
Right. Exactly.
And if I wouldn't have had, you know, the guy that I was doing it with to like help out initially, like that I would have never like kept pursuing or going to the next thing or the next thing, you know?
Yeah.
So having that support system of people like around you to like be like, no, we'll help with this, you know, however they can, kind of thing, that helps.
Right.
That's super nice.
Yeah. Cause now it's like evolved into something like,
Like
completely.
if you would have told me 10 years ago that this could realistically someday be in my full-time position, I would have been like, you're absolutely crazy. Like there's no way we can take whatever we're doing at the time and turn it into something that's like pretty good quality.
Yeah. You know? I mean, I feel like a lot of people feel like that way when they're making stuff when they're that young, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the podcast was that way. The radio show was that way. I remember our first show, we had gotten like the crash course in training on how to like use the mixing board, and here's how you plug your laptop in. We never knew how to use the phones. We never took requests. Even though that was like a thing we were encouraged to do. But the first show we went to go play a song, and we hit play and we turned up the knob, and we were like sitting back like, okay, we can't hear it in the studio, but that's fine. Like it's going out. Like I could see that the music's playing. And then the program manager comes running in and he goes, what the hell are you doing? He's like, you've had dead air for 2 minutes. And then he reintroduced us at the time, like just how to do everything. And we got the crash course during the first episode. So
wow. Yeah. Cause I did student radio too. And it was chaos, you know?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
It was just like random.
We came in on like a Saturday afternoon to get trained, and we didn't get trained really.
Yeah, exactly.
We got, here's this, here's that. Don't fuck up.
So as far as like, cause you just came back, or you guys just finished the Big Beat MKE competition. Like how long have you been doing that?
That was our second year doing it.
Okay.
It previously existed for like 10 years as the Milltown Beatdown, which was run by Jordan from 88.9 and DJ Bizon. The two of them ran that for like a long time. And when I first turned 21, I was a producer. I was still making music. So I always had a love for it. So myself and Patrick Carroll, who helps run the events with me now, we would go down to there, and like we loved it. Like we brought a bunch of friends down one time, and the two of us are kind of like hip hop kids. So we were like, or at this point we're hip hop kids. So we were really, really into it. And then our friends hated it. Like it was like you had a lot of like the just like sitting with the arms folded in the room kind of thing. And we were nodding out onto it. So like we started going to it a lot, and we loved it. And they, you know, Jordan and Bizon just got busy with other things, and life gets in the way kind of thing. And so they stopped doing the beatdown, and breaking and entering wasn't really at a point to bring it back. But I was just brainstorming one day on like, what can I do to like keep my thing going and keep it fresh? And then, you know, last year I finally was like, you know what, I'm going to just call Jordan and see if I want to like, see if I can bring the Milltown Beatdown back. And he's like, you can do everything, same format, same everything. I'll help what I can. And he's like, just change the name. That's the only thing. So now it's Big Beat MKE. And the name comes kind of from like the Milltown Beatdown, and Red Bull also did a big beat battle back in the day called Big Tune. So Big Beat, MKE, it all just kind of fell together. It was the best of several really bad name options. That was the best we came up with.
So to explain a little bit what it is, it's kind of like a tournament format, right? For producers.
It's a beat battle tournament. So my quick way of describing it is think of 8 Mile with beats. You know what I mean? Like it's just two guys, they get to play back and forth. They get a couple weeks in advance of, there's no guidelines on what to create other than like no vocals. Like you don't have like a vocal part. You can sample and stuff like that, but like it's 3 rounds, 1 minute back and forth. Whoever has the better beat, and you know, if the crowd wants it, we give them an overtime round. Most of the time it goes to an overtime round. So that's cool. And, you know, we switched up their format a little bit because they used to just be battles. So now we have 2 battles every night, and we have 2 Milwaukee artists perform too. Cool. So it's a little bit of a concert, a little bit of a tournament.
Sure.
It's just a really unique environment, and it's fun. It's super fun. It's one of my favorite things I think I've done since breaking and entering started.
Who won this year?
This year, 40 Mil won, and he actually is somebody I've known for a long time. And he told me he's been in beat battles before, but he had never been in the finals of anything and won. Wow. He was in the Milltown Beatdown final, but lost it. So this is his first one that he won, and I think he's done with battles after that.
Just taking the crown and walking
out on a high note, which is cool.
Yeah. So for that, how many people entered? Like,
so initially we had, I think, over 40 entries.
Wow.
We cut it down to 16 for the tournament. And the way that works is I have like a selection committee of like just a bunch of people that I know that I email out, and some of them are like radio people, some of them are like musicians themselves, some are producers that I know aren't in the tournament or not going to be because they do other things. Right. So I have a selection committee that cuts it down to 16. Okay, and then we go from there, and then it's head to head for 4 rounds.
Are you gonna do it again next year?
Oh, of course.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's a lot. It's 8 straight weeks of events for me.
That's a lot.
And then it's always the 8 weeks leading up to Summerfest too. Okay. It's going to be the way that we do it. Yeah. So it's a lot going into a lot.
Right. A lot into a lot.
But it's so fun. It's so redeeming. Like the community of people that we've gotten there has been so amazing, because like that's where we met like DJ Alpine. We met Schleeberry and like her crew, her photographer. It's all like, it's artists and producers in the room and fans too, but like there's a lot of like artists and producers in there networking, and that's really cool to see, because people are, introducing each other to kind of thing, and getting to hear what these producers are doing. Maybe we get to inspire some like somebody makes a song out of it. You know what I mean? So,
I mean, I saw the videos from it. It looked packed.
Oh yeah. Like, definitely. The last few nights, I think we probably hit close to capacity at Jackalope Lounge. Yeah. I don't know what capacity is, but I'm sure we were close to it. That's a fun, that always makes it better too, is having such a live supportive crowd. Like they're cheering you on, making noise, like, and I'm just the guy running it. I don't even know what it's like to be in the tournament, So
now that that's over, and I mean, Summerfest this year, talked about that a little bit, but like, what is coming up for you?
We are going to be doing more shows. We do a monthly series that was at Tonic Tavern. Okay. We're working on doing some more shows like in the area, and we usually do that monthly series from like October through April. Okay. So as the colder months, and we do 1 a month. It's usually 2 acts. Okay. We call it an evening with. So that's our next thing. Or well, I take that back. That's part of it. And we're also doing a concert series called Air in the Square in the 3rd Ward. Okay. That's an outdoor one that I got involved with through other routes, through my normal job. Yeah. But then became like a breaking and entering thing. So I've done that for like 4 or 5 years now too.
Wow. We're doing on a lot of shows.
Yeah. And if you would have told me that again years ago, I would have been like, I don't know the first thing about throwing a show. Yeah. But yeah, those start July 13th, and then there's 4 dates. So it's Air in the Square. It's everywhere.
Yeah. So what have you learned about that? Because I wouldn't know the first thing about that either. Like,
I've learned a lot from just building it. The first time we ever tried to do shows, a buddy of mine, Dan Shergan, and I from Marquette were trying to put on like our version of the Warped Tour. Okay. And we called it the Shenanigans Tour because our slogan at the time was music and shenanigans since 2009.
Sure.
So what we did is we would go to the skate park. He had a full PA. We'd set up, we'd bring like 2 punk bands and 2 rappers or 2 hip hop acts. Sure. And we would go like rock band, hip hop act, rock band, hip hop act. So kids would be like skating to our music. And
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. The concept's great.
Yeah.
But then you get there and you realize like, okay, it's a lot of work to take a PA and build it and bring it out to a concert. You have to clear out space with all these kids, and then like they just want to be there to skateboard. They don't even know the show is like going on. Like So it was a good effort. It was a good idea. I think the execution but we didn't know. We were kids. You know what I mean? Right. So but I've learned a lot more about like the logistics of like getting people to the stage on time, getting people getting the show up and running, like, I've learned I never knew how to do live sound, and now I know enough to be dangerous with it. Like, so things like that, like you just pick it up as it goes. It's just trying something new and seeing where that takes you.
Is it something kind of along the lines where like conceptually some things can be different than how they are actually?
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think like my biggest thing has been just try it. If it doesn't, you know what I mean? Like I'll try one and see what happens with it. And if it sticks, then yeah. And like doing shows definitely stuck. I used to think doing like, you know, our 8 shows in a year was a lot.
Right.
I don't even know how many shows we have this year. Like, like we've probably already done over 20 and it's only June or about to be July. So yeah, it's a lot of just being out there. And but you know what? That actually has been probably one of the bigger growth things for Breaking and Entering. Like as a brand, like people started recognizing us because we're out everywhere all the time.
Exactly,
you know, like, so just physically being out there sometimes is like the best way to like grow what you're doing.
Right. Yeah, that's for sure. And so who are the people that you're covering at Summerfest? Like, is it a long list of people?
There's a long list of like local acts. I saw Steve Aoki the other night.
Oh, nice.
That was really good.
Yeah.
That was a really fun show. Saw Lizzo. I was in probably the biggest crowd ever for Lizzo. My wife really wanted to see her. But you know, it was a great show, but like there was like, you had no room to move.
You literally couldn't move.
Yeah, you were shoulder to shoulder to people for sure.
Yeah.
So, I saw Gold last night. I think tonight is Jimmy Eat World. I don't know. There's a lot. I'm trying to think. Taking Back Sunday.
Oh, nice.
I know that I'm going to see them. I'm trying to get into Billie Eilish. Okay. We're working on getting some media credentials to get into that. And probably we'll end up at like Schoolboy Q and Lil Wayne, those shows, things like that. A Boogie with the Hoodie, I want to see for sure. Yeah. So, yeah.
So you talked about Vaughn Alexander being like one of your favorites right now. Who are some other people that I guess a lot of people wouldn't know, but like you really like what they're doing right now?
I would say Twan Mack is definitely, he's actually our host for Big Beat MKE too.
Oh, nice.
But he has been around in the hip hop game in Milwaukee since like the 80s.
Really?
You know, he's part of a group called Kareem City, but he's also like, he's so much more than just a rapper. But he's like a dude that like he has a clothing line, nostalgic visuals. He's everywhere.
He dabbles in a lot of things.
Yeah, he does a lot, but his main thing is he's an MC and he's like a true like he is hip hop to his core. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So he's charismatic, he's a really good rapper. Man, I'm trying to think who on the spot are like people to me that are hitting right now. Genesis Renji works his ass off. Like he's got, I know he's at least got an album in the tank right now, and he's just got it sitting there. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like he can drop whenever. Like he's got his summer is about to be crazy. I know that.